Hi, I'm Linda.
And I'm Troy, and we're Wines, Pines, and Canines. Today we're enjoying some of the best weather we've seen in a long time, and it's got us thinking about going boondocking and getting outside.
Yeah, if any of you have watched our earlier videos, that's one of our goals this year, is to do more boondocking. So in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about what boondocking is for any of you that are new to it. I'm going to talk about our specific plans for our upcoming videos.
And I'm going to unbox a new purchase. We went and got a 100-watt Renogy Solar Suitcase. We're going to open it up and see how it works.
So if you'd like to see, please stick around. Okay, so once you're all hitched up, where do you go? Well, if you're not going to be staying at a campground, then you're likely going to be boondocking.
Now, for those of you that are new to camping or just not familiar with it, boondocking is a term used generically to describe camping without services, like water, electric, cable, sewer, that kind of thing. Basically, you are off the grid.
So if you're looking for a quick overnight stay, some of the most popular places are Walmarts, Cracker Barrels, and places sometimes like Cabela's or Bass Pro Shops. Now, all of these places, though, you want to call the manager beforehand and make sure that you're going to be allowed to stay there. There's a lot more municipalities that are putting in rules that you're not allowed to do overnight stays, and some managers just don't want you, for whatever reason, staying in the parking lot. So it's very important that you actually speak to a manager beforehand, not a random employee, just to make sure. Otherwise, you might hear a on your door in the middle of the night and being hooked up to a tow truck. And I know that because I had a family member that happened to. So really important, make sure that you're going to be allowed to stay there. Now, there's also some other places along the way if you need a quick overnight stay that aren't retail outlets.
Yeah, some of the things to consider, and you have to check state by state. They all have rules. A lot of these rest stops along interstates, expressways, a lot of them will allow you to stay for a limited amount of time. Another opportunity might be a Flying J or a Pilot truck stop. Again, you have to reach out to them and make sure. Sometimes looking on a map, it isn't easy to determine whether they're big enough to accept overnight. You have to do a little homework. You might look at, for instance, places like casinos. Another classic case. Casinos love RV people to stay in their parking lot for the obvious reasons.
But let's say you're not trying to do an overnight stay. You're trying to do longer than that. Some of the places that you're going to find are the BLM lands, Bureau of Land Management. I don't think we really have a lot of those here on the East Coast, but they're very popular out on the West Coast. Right. But also national forests, and state and federal national parks that maybe have unimproved campgrounds are going to be a lot less expensive and will give you that true boondocking experience.
And I think apps like Allstays have an entire category for stops like this.
Okay.
All right, now a place that we've tried several times before and that we're going to be utilizing a lot in the upcoming years is one of the most popular options. That's harvest hosts. Traditionally, they're wineries or meaderies. Sometimes they're museums. And they're another great opportunity, and you can go and find out a lot more about them as well.
Yeah, no, those are a membership affiliation, so I think it's around $79 a year that they charge there, but you can stay for free at places. They just encourage you to buy from whoever you're staying with. So what is our plan to start our boondocking? Okay, so this is our plan. We are at a state recreation area, and as we mentioned earlier in the video, they're a great place to boondock. Now, a lot of them have, as we mentioned, kind of no hookup sites. The one that we're going to start at, though, is going to have an electric hookup, and I know we are going to cheat a little. The reason is the first time we take this out, it's going to be as it came from the dealer, and we don't have a lot of faith in our 12-volt battery, so we want to make sure that we have electric as a backup. So we are not going to hook up unless it's an absolute emergency. So what is our plan? Well, we're going to do 4 tests over a number of days. The first time, we are going to take it out, as I said, as it came from the dealer. That's with a 12-volt battery. and no additional solar other than the 100 watts that was installed by the manufacturer on the roof. And we're going to test things like the lights, the TV on. We're going to let you know kind of what the weather was like, what the battery reads at, how long we're using these appliances, so you can kind of apply it to your own situation. Then the second test is going to be adding a 100 watt Renogy solar side panel. That we have bought, and Troy's going to show you in just a minute. We're going to run the same test again with that though and let you know what that looks like. The third is we're going to buy a new set of batteries. We're going to install those. We're going to run these tests all over again. And then the fourth is running the new batteries with that Renogy Side Solar panel and let you know that. So those videos are going to be over a number of videos as we go on a number of trips. Now, we could spend thousands doing a setup with lithium and additional solar panels on the roof, but we're trying to do this step by step and to see what pieces give us the best benefit for the cost. And we want to show that to you, to where you might say, you know what, I don't need anything beyond X, so let me stop there. So we're hoping to bring that benefit to you. We're hoping to see how it helps us, and we're going to see how the year progresses. Now, if you'd like to see this, please remember to like and subscribe. Remember, Desi wants you to hit that notification bell. And Troy's now going to show you that solar side panel.
Good morning. This is the beginning of the first step in our process of making ourselves more capable in going off-grid and boondocking more going into 2021. Right beside me is something that Linda's found a deal on. These things normally retail for $260. Linda found it for $220, give or take. It's a Renogy 100 watt solar suitcase. In just a few moments, I'm going to pull it out of the box, open it up, hook it up to the camper, and let's see what it does. We're going to put a link below so that you can follow along and look at current pricing on this item and see if it works for you. All right, so we've taken it out of the shipping packaging. We're going to open it up right now and see what comes inside the container. As I mentioned, I've already been into it one time just to make sure there was no physical damage. This unit's a little heavier than you might think. It seems to be built exceedingly well. You've got a power cable and some connection cables. If you don't have a connection on the side of your camper like we do, the manufacturer has provided a connection for you. These are clamps that would go from your solar panel directly to your battery. So if that's something you have to do, it looks like they bring that right along with the packaging. We've got a user manual. We have a 20 amp PWM controller. These are the arms that support the panel. And when you flip it up on its back, you'll kind of see how these work, but it allows you to change the angle of the solar panel to get more light and kind of work better for you depending on where you are. All right, so we're fixing to connect the solar panel to our camper. Our camper is fairly new and it has one of these connections on the side. They're not that uncommon. This particular manufacturer does something along in their design that we're going to have to overcome, that being reverse polarity. This is actually backwards for the way that this panel is wired. Consequently, we had to buy a pigtail like this. Very simple. You can order these off Amazon. We had to buy a polarity reversing connection that's going to fit into the end of this. Now, when I connect this into here, we're good to go. All right, now when you set up the little mounting brackets for it and you set up the unit, this is kind of what you get. These legs are adjustable depending on how high you want the arc to be. This charge controller has a piece of Velcro on the back, but when you're in full operation, it kind of hangs so you can read the readout better. Based on what the owner's manual has to say about using this device, they want you to connect the panel first to the camper. Once you've got it hooked up to your camper, and you're going to see that our battery in the camper is currently reading 13.7 volts, so it's really pretty full. We're going to go ahead then and only then and connect the two panels to the charge controller. The user manual that comes from Renogy is really easy to follow, but one of the first things it asks you to do is make sure that the PWM controller is set up with the type of battery that you're using. All right, now we've spent the last couple hours doing some highly technical scientific method. We took a box and a sweater, put it on top of the solar panel on top of the roof so we can isolate how successful this panel is without having to disconnect the panel on the roof. The net result is this. We've run the batteries all the way down by running every light, every fan, everything in the camper. We've run the batteries all the way down. We've hooked a solar panel up when we had solar, and then we bring the batteries right back up to where they're supposed to be. This unit does appear to be highly effective. All right, now, in the next couple weeks, we've got a couple trips planned to the western part of North Carolina. We're going to put this solar panel right through its paces. We're going to see what benefit this solar panel brings to us, and I think it's going to be significant. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. We'll do what we can to keep current with more videos moving forward, and we look forward to having you along.